What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Weeds Weekly, where I, Kevin Weedmark, just walk us down the path of what happened this past week, what we can expect for this week, what's upcoming. We're going to talk about 47% say they would make a move if, and then we're going to talk about the McRib is back, baby. So let's dive into last week. And basically, the biggest thing I've been saying is, does anyone really know what time it is, right? An old, good Chicago song. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I've been saying this for a long time now, because after listening to pretty much a lot of what the Fed members had to say last week, and if you recall, there was over 14 that spoke, maybe Powell knows exactly what it is he's doing. And I say that because we continuously, it seems like week in and week out, get conflicting data. The labor market's struggling to where the labor market is great. The numbers look wonderful to where last week we had initial jobless claims come in much higher than expected. Actually, the largest read that we've had in all of 2024. And what I'm alluding to is maybe Fed Chairman Powell, in his soft landing approach, has determined that, like an airplane, there can potentially be turbulence along the way. And it could be long. It could take a while for that turbulence. But as long as that turbulence is conflicting up and down, and as we saw this past week, once again, inflation yield, pushed itself up a little bit. And I get the media spin. They're not at this point, especially with an election coming up, spin that's a concern. But make no mistake about it, the Fed is concerned about it. And what we've already seen based on the unemployment numbers, as well as now inflation's a little bit concerned, we've seen adjustments to what traders believe the next Fed policy meeting could be. And in my projection, and what I've been saying for a long time now, the Fed should pause in November. They don't need to do a damn thing. Keep allowing this turbulence to occur. There's no reason to get ahead of anything. I would make sure post-election that we're in a good space. And then I would look at doing something, maybe if I had to, drastic in December. But I wouldn't do anything. So now let's look at what's coming into this week. And really this week, there's not anything significant. Here we sit in a holiday. Usually these short weeks can be a little bit uneasy because you got traders, another day for them to digest. But I think the market is sitting exactly where it should. It's fairly uncertain of what's coming down the pipe. They're now expecting about an 87% chance that we're going to get a quarter in November. Again, I just said that they should pause. A lot of that will be determined once we get those non-farm payroll numbers on the 1st of next month. We're going to get a lot of jobs data before we actually have the election, as well as prior to the next Fed policy meeting. So let's be honest, a lot of it's going to hinge on that. We've already seen a lot of the inflation data, a lot of the anticipated PCE, personal consumption expenditure number that will come out. I believe it's in 2 weeks, or next week it comes out. I think it's going to read a little bit more of the same. Inflation is coming down. There's going to be conflicting reads in it. So I don't expect much of anything other than a little bit sideways. And my best suggestion to a lot of people is, hey, if you got somebody that needs to lock this week because they have a closing, right, coming up here, just get with their mortgage professional and be like, look, if I can save in anything, you see a drop come this week, you lock that rate and you run with it and worry about future interest rates. Because this week we just really have retail sales. The anticipation there, it's going to be interesting to see the number. I want to see the number because we've had, consumer confidence. That has been decreasing. The consumer's been a little bit kind of like apprehensive lately. And then the other thing we have is that initial jobless claims. With the two back-to-back hurricanes that we had, and that's why they said that the last number was obviously the highest that it's been was due to Hurricane Helene. Now you add on Milton. Well, if we see that number get drastically higher, what is the reaction in the market? My anticipation is not much. They're going to blame it on the hurricanes. They're going to blame it on that. And I think it just kind of goes kind of by the wayside. You may see interest rates tick up a little bit, but it's not going to be anything drastic. So I would not be overly concerned. All right, so let's just dive in. 47% say they would move if. We've talked long about where I, as well as talking to other industry professionals, believe that the market will start making a move. And the nice thing is look, recently we've had interest rates all the way down into the low sixes. We saw a little bit more activity. We saw a lot more kicking tires. And just recently, within the last couple of weeks, we've seen this shoot up now into about 6.5%, just like that. It was one of the quickest turns that we've seen, and we haven't had rates that low since 2024. And we were hoping that we get a little tailwind at our back, but unfortunately we're not going to get that right now. We're gonna have to move through this election cycle, and they're gonna need more data to see and anticipate where they believe those Fed future rates are going to fall and when. But the unique thing is this, I've been saying it for a while, that I believe that we get into the mid fives, that we're gonna see a lot more activity. And I was able to find some information that will back up what I was saying, and it'll be in the chart when you're looking at the email. Is John Burns Research and Consulting basically says that the magic mortgage rate is going to be sitting between 5 and 5.5%. They surveyed about 1,250 people, and 47% of people said that they would make a move at that point. Right now, with rates 1% higher, we're sitting at 13%. So if you take that jump in just a 1 percentage point in an interest rate, that's a 261% increase in activity and people that want to make a move. That number is huge. We will be busy should we get to that point. The beauty of it is it's coming. It's just not here today. So I'm going to follow that up with my last thought, and the fact that I know last week, the McRib is back. I know last week I said that buy downs, I wouldn't be doing them. I know I said I would use that money and allocate any seller concessions in a different way. But now getting the confirmation that 47% of people would do something as a seller or a buyer if they could see that they could get a future loan in the mid fives, well, then I believe that the 1-1 buy down is the perfect loan right now. Because if you then go look at the dot plot and what the futures believe, where the Fed funds rate will be, it's over 1% lower than where it is today, which would mean that interest rates are going to be 1% lower than where we are today. So again, I believe that the 1-1 buy down is back. So what I did is I just put together a little chart that basically lays out what the cost of a 1-1 buy down is, from purchase prices of $400,000 all the way up to $2 million. And as you can see, it's very inexpensive. If you've got a purchase price of $400,000, right, and you're the seller, it would cost you $2,468 to buy that person's rate down to the mid fives. And then you go all the way up to a $2 million loan, and you'd be looking at $12,342 to bring that rate down. And again, we just said that 47% of buyers and sellers would make a move if they could get a rate in the mid fives. Well, we can give them that rate today, and we know, based on where we're now in this rate reduction era, all signs are pointed towards it. We are going to be very close, if not lower than that 1% reduction in the interest rate in a year from now or less, right? And I'm looking at October of next year. So if you were to able to offer this to a client now, a year from now is October. By the time they close, you're looking at November and December. I would sit here and I would say you have a 99% chance that that rate is going to be lower. Use the seller concessions to pay for your closing costs so you're not paying them twice. And then I would also do a 1-1 buy down and get them into it. I think it's a great way to get people off the fence. I'm happy to run numbers for any houses that you have. We can make flyers, but I think it's a great tactic to be talking to both buyers and sellers and letting them know that within a year, the rate will be there. Oh, and by the way, we can gap it now. Because once again, let's just go back to the fact that if you're looking to purchase your primary residence, and I'm not getting into the investment side right now, if you're looking to purchase a primary residence, it is the perfect storm. The rate reduction era, you have massive inventory in a lot of places that you uniquely have not seen in the past, and you still, most importantly, have sellers that are willing to negotiate. All right, y'all, I hope that was beneficial. I hope this helps. I hope it gives you some talking points to talk to your buyers and sellers that are out there, listings you may have. Like I said, I'm more than happy to put together a flyer, run numbers, whatever will help you move that home. I'm here. Just give me a text, email, or pick up the phone and give me a call. Love to sit down, love to talk to you about it, talk on the phone, whatever I can do to assist. Have a great week. You need anything, like I said, I'm always working, so just give me a shout out. And I will talk to you I'll talk to you on Friday with the Friday wrap up of what happened this past week. Enjoy your day off, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great one. Cheers.